Yo, what's going on? Mike from Mike Talk Sports. In the first game of the Eastern Conference Finals, the Miami Heat defeated the Boston Celtics 123-116, and really the story of the game was Erik Spoelstra absolutely out-scheming and out-coaching Joe Mazzulla, and the number one coaching mistake of this entire game was Payton Pritchard getting minutes. Let me tell you guys why. Payton Pritchard needs DNPs every single game in this series if the Boston Celtics want to win. The story of Erik Spoelstra's career with the Miami Heat, dating back to the LeBron James era, is matchup hunting. Erik Spoelstra is better than any other coach in the NBA. When there is a guy like Payton Pritchard on the court, when there is a guy like Tony Parker on the court, it doesn't matter how good of an offensive player they are. If they are a liability on defense, if they are a smaller guard out there, they are going to shamelessly attack them every single moment in the basketball game that they are on the court, and that is exactly what happened last night. To end the third quarter and to begin the fourth quarter, I kid you not, I think for 10 plays in a row, for 5-6 minutes in a row, every single offensive half-court set for the Miami Heat started with a Payton Pritchard screen. No matter where Payton Pritchard was on the defensive end, whether it was an off-ball screen or an on-ball screen, they would start their action with a Payton Pritchard screen, trying to get Payton Pritchard as the primary defender, because no matter who Payton Pritchard is guarding, they were going to be the one who is going to generate offense on that given play. I think for 5 or 6 plays in a row in the fourth quarter, the man who was getting guarded by Payton Pritchard either had an easy layup or an easy mid-range jump shot, or they had an easy assist because of that lack of pressure with the passing lanes when Payton Pritchard is guarding them. There were a couple moments where Payton Pritchard played pretty solid defense on Jimmy Butler. The issue isn't his defense in terms of the technical ability. It straight up is his size. Jimmy Butler and better shooters in the NBA, such as Max Strus and even Kyle Lowry in this game, could so easily score on Payton Pritchard because he's just too small out there. So I think I've already established that Payton Pritchard is an absolute liability on the defensive end. I genuinely don't care how good Payton Pritchard is on offense. I don't care if he comes into the game in 12 minutes played, which he played 12 minutes in this game. I don't care if he comes in right away and gives you 10 points off the bench. I don't care. It's not good enough. But of course, this did not happen last night, and this usually doesn't happen with Payton Pritchard, a guy who averages 41% from the field, which is not good, a guy who averages 36% from three, which is about league average. It's fine. But the reason the Miami Heat were able to shade that 13-point lead in this game and end up winning this game really was because of Payton Pritchard and them just bullying Payton Pritchard every single time on the defensive end. And then you look at his offensive impact, as I just alluded to. In 12 minutes, he was 0 for 2, and he had 0 points with 1 assist. He was basically just doing cardio out there. His plus-minus of -3 isn't even that bad, and I don't even have too much of a problem with that. It's just offensively, if you're going to have Payton Pritchard out there, at least have him take the ball up. At least have him play to his strengths. If you've watched enough Boston Celtics games over the last 3 years with Payton Pritchard in there, it is no secret that Payton Pritchard is a good three-point shooter at the top of the key. He's a pretty good three-point shooter on the wings, and even the elbows is not that bad. But to just have Payton Pritchard sit in the corner and do absolutely nothing, no off-ball movement, no on-ball creation from Payton Pritchard whatsoever, for him to just camp out in the corner and do absolutely nothing, when in reality, that corner three is where he is weakest at as a shooter. It makes absolutely no sense. Payton Pritchard clearly needs to not play in this series. Erik Spoelstra is just too good of a coach to have Payton Pritchard out there if you are Joe Mazzulla, because Erik Spoelstra and Jimmy Butler are going to matchup hunt Payton Pritchard every single time. So his defensive impact is very negative. His offensive impact is an absolute 0. Who should play over Payton Pritchard? Well, last night, Joe Mazzulla played 8 guys on the court. That's a very tight rotation. First and foremost, Derrick White had 21 minutes in this game. You can simply just replace those Payton Pritchard Pritchard minutes with Derrick White, but that's a 7-man rotation. I completely get it. Mike from Mike Talk Sports, who should play if you think Joe Mazzulla is such an idiot for playing Payton Pritchard? Clearly, Sam Hauser is such a significantly better three-point shooter from the corner. Sam Hauser would absolutely wash Payton Pritchard in a corner three-point shooting contest. If you're going to have Payton Pritchard just camp out in the corner, you might as well get Sam Hauser out there, a guy who, let's be completely honest, is he going to play worse defense out there than Payton Pritchard? No way. Is he as laterally quick as Payton Pritchard? Could he stay in front of a guy as well as Payton Pritchard? No. But who cares if Payton Pritchard is staying in front of his defender if they can simply shoot over him every single time? Get Sam Hauser out there over Payton Pritchard. Who else? Grant Williams. Grant Williams is a guy who was vital to the Celtics' success last year. He's really fell out of favor with Joe Mazzulla in this new coaching era. He's about the same of a three-point shooter, in my opinion, from the corner that Payton Pritchard offers. And defensively, he's significantly better defensively. I don't even really mind Grant Williams being switched on to Jimmy Butler and then matchup hunting Grant Williams. In my opinion, he's a significantly better defender than Payton Pritchard. And Grant Williams posted in the corner doing nothing, shooting 0 for 2 from 3. At least he's offering you something defensively. And then lastly, I don't want Blake Griffin to play. I really rather not have Blake Griffin out there if I'm Joe Mazzulla, but I think Blake Griffin is a way better option than Payton Pritchard out there. Blake Griffin can actually get an offensive rebound. He can get a defensive rebound. He's good with his off-ball movement. I think he's a better off-ball mover than Payton Pritchard out there. Again, defensively, you just way rather have Blake Griffin out there defensively than Payton Pritchard, though Blake Griffin really is a negative defender out there because of his lack of size and athleticism at the 4 position. But at this point, anyone is a better option than Payton Pritchard. He's tiny. Small point guards do not work well in the playoffs, especially a role player. So I hope Joe Mazzulla, if the Celtics want to win this series, they need to make the adjustment. Joe Mazzulla, bench Payton Pritchard, give him 0 minutes every single game for the rest of the series.